No, it's been very good.
Well, let's go on to number 6 it is. Last week you were walking by the nurse's station and an employee saw you and commented that they needed a neck rub.
That was me. I'm sorry.
And let's assume it's the opposite sex. Okay? What would you do?
I'd ask if they had $20.
And then to see exchanging money and everything. Let me start with this, that all 20 of these have happened to me, so. So, what would you do?
No way.
Sounds like you need to go to the
Referral.
Sorry.
Call Martha.
One more time.
I feel you, sister, and I just keep on going.
So, what are some responses you could say to this employee? You're the chaplain, you're a minister. You gotta say something, or you can just walk by and pretend you didn't hear it.
That's what I would do.
I would just say, what happened to your neck? Did you hurt yourself? You know, I've had neck problems too, so forth and so on. You know, you really probably
Again, you
should
can
go
show
see my
concern.
chiropractor,
Okay.
you know, or, you know, I can pray for you. I'm not really
Yeah.
good at rubbing people's necks, but, you know.
Now,
But I
are
would
there
talk to them.
employees in the hospital that do this for each other?
I don't know that, I mean, I guess,
Okay. At times, you've worked in a hospital long enough, I'm sure you've seen a neck rub or two. Okay?
I mean, if they seriously hurt their neck, you know,
Yeah.
they can go to the
Okay.
park and they can courtesy thing, and, you know, I mean, I would say, did you hurt yourself, you
Yeah.
know?
So you could show compassion.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's times where it's appropriate. I mean, I wouldn't feel like it was inappropriate if I saw, you know, a nurse, a female nurse, massaging somebody's neck. That wouldn't be out of the ordinary for me. But I mean, as a chaplain, I think there's a higher standard that we have to hold ourselves
Different
to.
than that.
There's going by that. I mean, you know, that's just opening the door wide for rumor and gossip.
Yeah.
It really sheds a bad light on what we're supposed to be doing.
In our hospital, we had a lady volunteer, not a volunteer chaplain, but a volunteer, who, and she was probably in her 70s, and she went around routinely to every nurse's station, and everybody knew she gave back rubs. And just think she did. So I knew she was a churchgoer, a spiritual lady, and asked one time, I said, would you like to become a volunteer chaplain? She said, well, can I do neck rubs? And I go, no. She goes, then I don't want to be one. And we called her the Sunshine Lady. She went around with a cart with magazines and books to read and Bibles and whatever the patient wanted to read, and a hot washcloth and a neck rub, whether that was to a patient or to an employee. And the employee just loved it, and she treated her like her minister. But as I told her, I said, you put on the chaplain badge, it gets a little sticky, you know? So maybe you need to stay with the volunteer badge and not the chaplain. Well, why is that the case? I guess you could make the claim Jesus was always in trouble with the Pharisees, and so what's wrong with us being in trouble? You could make all kind of excuses at why do we have to live by the world's traditions, and why do we always have to follow the code of ethics, you know, because we know we're good guys, you know. But there's certain part of being above board and being without question, you know, that makes what we do special. Another book my wife and I are reading together, I always forget titles of books, but it's about boundaries. Well, it's another Andy Stanley book. I was really like Andy Stanley. He talks about boundaries, and he calls it guardrails. He says when you place guardrails in your life, there are a whole lot farther away from the danger. They aren't right on the edge. It's more close to safety. But you put guardrails there to keep you from even getting close to danger. So you set up guardrails in your life that says, I will never. And somebody else may go, oh, Larry, I've been in, you know, I'm in marketing and I'm in sales and I do that all the time. And I go, well, I will never. Why are you so strong about that? You seem really prudish. Well, I just will never do that, you know. And so there's certain guardrails in my life that I have put in my marriage and in my life that says I won't go beyond that, because it's real easy to walk on the edge and slip on rocks.
That's right.
You know, and then you've gone too far, and it may seem ridiculous to everybody else, and I don't care. Because I'm the one responsible for slipping off the edge or for my character. People like Billy Graham said, I would never get on an elevator by myself without another man with me, because then on the second floor a lady's going to get on, and then we're going to go to the third floor and open the doors and there's the pictures. He said, I just would never get. And somebody picking me up at the airport, it's got to be a man. It's not going to be, oh, a man and her husband got sick and he couldn't come and there's a lady. He just said, I just never would do that. And maybe that's one reason why he's had such an impeccable ministry compared to others, where they're like, oh, you're doing this and that. And he just made certain rules in his life. Never to eat out with a lady by himself, you know. Now some of you, like in counseling, you have been told by senior ministers, I never do counseling as a man with a lady without my wife there. Now, as professional counselors, my wife can't be there 40 hours a week. I just never could keep that contract. But I made other conditions. I would never be in a church alone without my church secretary there, whom she knew the code. You know, you can walk into my office anytime you want to. And I can push a button right here on my phone anytime I want to, and you'll be in there in a second. And at times I might feel like I need to counsel with my door open. And my door had a window with opaque shade on it. You could see the movement in the room, what was going on, but not who they were. But the rest of it was soundproof, extra thick walls to protect the client. So there was like certain things we did to protect me, to protect them, and all that. So it's like, man, you seem to just go way too far in this. No, I don't think so. I've seen too much damage. You've seen too many ministers that you know started out well but ended poorly. And I don't want to be one of those. And so you'll set up your boundaries. And so I said, all of these have happened to me, where employees, you know. And my answer was, I don't think Sarah, my wife, would approve of that. Kept on. And then their answer might be that it didn't get a chance to use, well, what if your boss came by or my boss came by? What do you think? But, you know, I'll be praying for your dad. You know?
I just think that we as ministers, lay leaders, whatever, we have to set certain standards for ourselves, because, you know, the Bible says, don't let your good be evil spoken.
Yeah.
You know, you can be doing good, but we know that the devil's busy and he's going to say negative of what you're doing. So, and then you see people outside of your ministry. You're at the store, you're at Walmart or wherever, and you want to always have your light shining.
Yeah.
Because that person, you never know when that person, you know, people watch people, or should I say, they watch what you do. Even though you don't know they're watching you, they're watching you because they want to see you stuff. So they can say, yeah, you come up there and I saw, you know, just so they can have something to throw back at you. So I just think it's just standards. It's just like in a marriage, you have standards. Certain things, like you said, you're just not going to do. I'm not going to minister to a gentleman and my husband's not present. Or I don't have another minister from my church with me, somebody who's in my doing the same as I am. I'm just not going to put myself in that predicament. So.
Well, something else we always have to keep in mind, we've been talking about that in here, is that we live in a very litigious society.
Exactly.
And there are, you know, there was a time in our society, back probably when we were younger kids, where a minister or a priest or whatever was seen as up on being on a pedestal, and they were godly and they couldn't do anything wrong.
Exactly.
Well, that's changed. That's seriously changed, and it's not going to be just us and our families that are going to get sued. It'll be the whole church organization be dragged through the mud. So we just have to, we have to be extremely cautious. We just have to be.
Larry, kind of just what I talked about earlier, everything counts. Our lives are, from the time we get up, the way we drive,
Yeah.
or how we don't get upset,
Yeah.
everything counts. One back rub can bring a family down. It's little things, but I'm telling you, everything counts. The way
Yep.
it's all in it. Holistically,
Yep.
we are who we are.
I interpret this back rub didn't mean that, but it meant this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it may not be that people have it out for us, but it may, in terms of chaplaincy, it may affect our ministry. If we give in to that and we do that, and then our next stop is in a room and a family member had walked by the nurse's station.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I saw your wife. See, your wife works here. No, well, I'm sorry, that wasn't my wife. But, you may really abort that opportunity for ministry.
Yeah.
Good.
Now, in my church, as a pastor staff of 5, when I was on staff, I was called the hugging pastor. The other pastors just didn't. But there was a certain standard when I felt like it was inappropriate. Okay?
And you know it.
Now, I know some chaplains say, I never hug. Well, I feel sorry for the people that need a hug and you won't give them one.
Amen.
But it's a danger zone. Maybe one day we'll do a seminar on the power of the hug and and the danger of a hug, okay? But it's kind of the same thing. I hug staff. I hug family members of patients, okay? But I try to be cautious.
Sure.
And there were some that wanted a hug, and I knew they wanted a hug, and let me get that one arm and I'm on my way, okay? So there's the arched back hug, there's a
Stand back hug.
there's a breast hug, and there's a one arm hug, and there's a pat on the back and a shake of hand, And boy, do you have to be just alert, and have maybe I made a mistake in that. Didn't read it well. Probably had. But you live and learn, and you set certain standards of what you will do and not do. One ICU nurse saw me one day leaving as a patient had died in ICU, and I was hugging the family members, and some I hugged, and some I didn't. Some I shook their hands, and some I hugged, and male and female. He was a male nurse in ICU, head of ICU, and he pulled me aside when everybody was gone. He goes, "How do you do that?" "What do you mean? Hug?" And I go, he goes, "No, I don't mean the mechanics." He goes, "How do you know which one? You don't. I see you hugging all kind of colors, people with teeth and people without teeth, people who smell, people that smell good, but you don't hug everybody. How do you know which one's to hug?" And I said, "Well, you don't always know. But I try to read who would want a hug and who doesn't want a hug, and who wants a long hug and who wants a short hug and who wants a handshake." And I know I make mistakes, but at a certain point you extend yourself to do ministry with guardrails. Yeah.
I read an article about there's a major chain of restaurants, and they call it the power of the touch. And the waitresses make a lot of money, zillions of dollars. And it's a 5-touch. It's called a 5-touch service. Jesus touched people.
Yeah.
Jesus didn't go, "Oh, I can't touch you, I'm gonna get sued." He touched, but he didn't hug. He embraced, but he touched. But what the study was, like if you're at a table, the touch could be the touch of the table or the touch of the. And that instant is incredible because scripturally the Bible says, "And he touched them, and they were made whole."
Yeah.
So if we can get really backwards on this and say, "Oh, I can be almost anemic and look for the squirt bottle at the end of the door," going, "No one touches it." Amen. But I thought that's pretty amazing, and we can learn from that. The 5-touch, and the waitresses that did that made like 30 or 40% more. And people were served because they felt like they were part of their faith, be relational.
Yeah.
And it's really important that you touch. but not necessarily hug.
Yeah, yeah,
So there's your
Another
seminar.
kind.
There's your seminar.
there you go, thank you. Can we go to that? Let's see, number 7, you were talking with a patient about their marriage struggles. You have gone through the same thing 10 years ago, so you said you could identify. They said that their spouse acted like a child. You said your spouse acts the same way. So you had a good laugh together, and a passerby employee told you this was out of line. And you said to her, or him, that employee,
You're right.
could be. Because it could have been out of line,
It could have been establishing rapport.
could have been establishing rapport.
I would just, if they said that to me, but a passerby employee told you this was out of line, I would just say to them, I'm sorry you think so,
Okay?
you know.
And maybe what part
And
did
just
you
leave it
hear?
at- Yeah, I mean, because they're gonna, everybody's
You're
gonna have
always
their
gonna
opinion, and
offend
they're just
somebody.
gonna have to live with
Yeah.
their opinion,
Always
I don't
gonna
have to
offend
live with it, but, you know,
Yeah.
I'm sorry if that's the way you read it, you know,
Uh-huh.
maybe, you know,
Uh-huh.
sorry, there's a misunderstanding.
Okay,
You
A
know,
lot of what we deal with every day is perception.
there you go.
You know, a lot of what we
They don't
have
hear it
with
all,
patients
see it
and
all.
visitors and family, and it's what they see is what they believe. And, you know, that could be just a situation of their perception was this was
I'm sorry if you
Yeah.
thought we were
You
being
know, thank you for bringing it to my
Yeah.
attention,
Yeah,
and then move on.
That's it.
One of the thing in the question that raises the red flag to me is when the chaplain begins to talk about their current spouse acting childish.
Yeah.
So you've got a problem in your marriage, I've got a problem in my marriage.
how far do we identify?
That's-
You certainly don't want to do it in the hallway. in front of
Yeah.
people. What are you thinking?
How far do you
What
go?
are you thinking? Are you serious?
I guess I just inherited this baggage from my parents, but they never would criticize each other in front of other people. They would never talk to anybody else that way. I can't do it either.
Right. How
But
far you-
that's a personal thing.
No, it's good.
Someone's like to identify to connect.
That's how my-
How far do you go to connect?
Well, my mother
Professional
always
counselor
said,
to
don't
talk.
carry your dirty laundry and cover it.
Yeah.
That was my mother's side. She's gonna be 92 this month, so
Yeah.
I think she's pretty knowledgeable. So I try not to do that.
So it's one thing to be sitting at a bus stop. One thing to be sitting next to somebody on an airplane. It's another thing to be sitting as a professional.
Yeah.
Okay?
Very good.
And sometimes people just want somebody to listen.
Yeah.
Not a lot of times, you don't even have to do
Yeah.
that much conversating.
Yeah.
Because if you give them your undivided attention
Mm-hmm.
and you're listening to what they're saying, not only are you just hearing them, but then, like you said, using the spirit of discernment, you're able to discern where you need to pray at.
Mhm.
Because it's usually more than one issue besides the illness, you know? So by just listening to what they're saying, and at the end, well, you know what, let's just pray about that.
Yeah.
And leave it in God's hand. Let's just cover your spouse right now,
Yeah.
and you and your family
Yeah.
and your illness, and you can tie it all together.
Right.
Sometimes just listening plays a big part.
Part of this number here is brought up to teach us how to deal with rebuke or correction. You can easily get defensive, going, it's none of your business, you didn't hear the whole thing.
Yeah, that's true.
You're right.
And it's also the flip side of that personality is, oh no, I always do stuff wrong. She said I was wrong, I guess I was wrong. Okay, you can go either extreme. And someone taught me this a long time ago, to kind of go, Lord, what do you think? Okay, learn something from that.
Yeah, amen.
Yeah, okay.
Good.
It wasn't this big wrong, but it was a little bit wrong, and I need to correct that next time. And thank you for bringing that to my attention. But usually we get defensive. Well, it wasn't as bad as they were saying, and we reject it all and don't learn.
Good, that's really good.
Or let's say it's a nurse or something, and we just really blow them away,
Wow.
and they kind of go, "Well, what is wrong with that child? That minister? You know, they're not teachable." I was trying to help them, saying, I don't think this is good in a patient's room to identify what your spouse is doing, you know? And so there's times to connect, and there's time to learn, and there's time to walk away going, you know what? I don't think that was wrong at all. But there's a moment there I need to just look inside. Okay?
Good.
That's a tough one. Learn to hear rebuke or correction, especially when it's coming from a person you don't like. To still hear, I don't like them and I wish it didn't come from them, but you know what?
Might be something.
You know, laughter is just a wonderful thing
Yeah.
too, and if you engage in laughter with a patient, it's really good for them.
Yeah.
Good for you too. It's
Yeah.
a good thing.
Number 8, an elderly patient left the hospital and went to an adult care facility. And that's a better word to use instead of nursing home. Hospital personnel kind of know that. Anyway, they went to an adult care facility, nursing home we call it. They asked you, could you visit them? And you said. So again, you're the hospital chaplain. You visited with them, they like you, they're leaving the hospital, they're going to adult care facility, and could you visit them? What are some of your answers to that? When would you not, and why?
It would be hard to say no.
Okay.
For me, I'm thinking about, you know, being at Pop Glove, all the facilities that I'm aware of are close by.
Yep.
I couldn't find a good excuse not to.
Okay. What are some questions to ask that patient? To be
Where
sure.
are they going? I mean, which one are, I
Yeah.
mean, this one, where are they going?
Yeah.
You know, where are they going?
Do you have a pastor?
Okay, do you have a pastor? Would I be taking the place?
That's a good question.
Okay.
Go back
Do you have
to
family that
Do you have family? Are you trying to establish maybe whether they're all alone or don't have anyone else?
But for me, my other role as a pastor, I have a twofold ministry there, and it overlaps a little
Yeah,
bit. If
yeah.
they're going to a nursing facility, they don't have a pastor.
Yeah.
And, you know, whatever I answer, I just need to be honest with them.
Yeah.
though. I don't want to
Yeah.
tell them I'll visit them and then not visit them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But if they need a pastor, then
Mhm.
it is changing. My chaplain role is ending, and I'm picking up the ministry as a pastor. If I were not a pastor, then that raises other questions. What am I willing to do? What am I willing for my role to be in their
Yeah.
life?
Okay.
And I don't think I don't think there's a complication as a that interferes with our role as a chaplain.
Not per se. Let me twist it a little different way. What if this patient had a pastor, they were a member of a church, you're the chaplain, and you go visit them and their pastor going, why is he coming here? This is my people. Feels like sheep stealing, you know, and I know it's God's sheep, but we still feel a certain responsibility and ownership of our members, right? Now, if they ask them to come, they have the full freedom to. But you understand this shepherding feeling of crossing territories.
I totally understand what you're saying, but I don't see the relevance of, if I'm a pastor
Yeah.
and I have someone here, Dan comes and sees
Yeah.
them as a chaplain, they invite Dan to come visit them in the nursing home.
Yeah.
Why am I threatened by that?
I'm glad you're not, but I know some pastors who are.
I had an experience just recently with this situation. 2 weeks ago, a friend of mine passed away. I had been his pastor. He now was going to the church here in town in Papa Bluff, and he had a son that was a pastor at another church, son-in-law. Well, all the pastors were going to see them, see this family, see this gentleman before he passed away. In my understanding, they were all welcome. So there wasn't a problem with shepherding or whatever. You know, everybody was cool with everybody else being here.
Yeah.
But the problem arises is that you know, Ed and I may not have a problem visiting each other's folks, and it wouldn't be an issue between us. But if somebody does have a problem and we're wearing the hat of chaplain, then every chaplain visit becomes suspect. And they have
And I
a
know
problem.
some
They have a
pastors that have a
problem
problem with that.
not only personally, but with the whole
Yeah.
hospital
Yeah.
chaplaincy program.
Yeah.
But isn't that a pride issue though?
It is.
I mean, we need to let down on that, don't you agree?
I'm just bringing it up as an issue.
I mean, who in the world do we think we are? I mean, serious, you know?
Things get
I
out
know
in the
some-
community too, and with a pastor who has a
Yeah.
prideful issue, they're
Yeah.
gonna twist it and spin
Yeah.
it the
Either
other
way,
way.
I was gonna say, you can have a
They're
hard
gonna
goal.
say, do
That's
you
fine.
know this pastor over at this church, and people don't know this pastor over at
Right.
this church?
Yeah.
They're out stealing from our
Yeah.
flock, and that's the way they'll paint
They
you,
do.
so you have to be real careful.
I think the body of Christ, I'm just gonna talk honestly and above. I think the Poplar Bluff is in a different place
Good.
with that. I don't think, it used to be an issue,
Yeah.
and now there's like, you know what,
Good.
what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Let's work together and
More
it's
and more
more
pastors are
unified,
seeing that,
you know?
becoming less
I sure see
walls.
that.
I think you're right. I cannot speak for other places at all, but here in Poplar Bluff, I think there's a real feeling of that we're, you know, we represent different franchises. You know, I'm part of the Methodist franchise, you know, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
But we're all in the same business, you
Amen.
know, and we're all serving people, you know, in this way. Myself, I don't see, I wasn't in the pulpit that long, but I've never seen any problem with that at all.
Good.
Larry, and you know, in light of all that, I think the proper response might be, well, I would be glad to come visit you if your pastor doesn't mind. I'll check with him.
Just ask, yeah.
Nice answer, that's a good answer.
Yeah.
Courteous.
Just kind of checking out the issues. Now, here's another issue. What if there is a volunteer chaplaincy at that nursing home? And you're walking into that building and they're kind of going, are you their pastor? Okay, still, there's an encroachment, okay? I know, I love the fact that all you work together. I'm just bringing up issues. Again, I've been on this other side of somebody giving me a phone call, you know, why is this chaplain visiting my people, you know, they're a hospital chaplain, and I have to deal with the issue.
I think, as I'm listening to you talk, I can see where different pastors visiting the same patient could be a conflict if there was different theological issues getting involved. For example, just throwing this out, let's say that the patient you're seeing is gay. And some churches are going to say, well, you're going to hell, partner.
Yeah.
And I would say, no, you're not. That could be a problem.
Yeah.
It's because you're having a conflict. There again,
Right.
conflict information. I can see then would be a problem.
No.
I can see where that would be a problem.
No.
But
But just be aware. It happens. And be sensitive and ask the questions as you're going into that institution.
Well, but if it's about what makes the person that asked you to come happy.
Yeah.
If
They
they
ask
want you there,
Yeah.
that's a continuation of whether it's care from the hospital.
That's true.
Or,
Yeah.
and ultimately answering to God for
Yeah.
that. And if you say, no, I'm sorry, I can't see
Yeah.
it, and that was the only open door they had to salvation,
Yeah.
Come on.
then
Yeah.
You know
you
what?
drop the ball.
Responsibility. Yeah.
One of the freest things for me in my personal ministry is letting people, let them go. You know, there's people that Dan can minister to, I can't.
Yeah.
And I just, you know what, it's not
Yeah.
worth the conflict, it's certainly not worth,
No.
it's not worth the pride issue, who's got
Yeah.
more sheep in the pen.
Yeah.
You know what, God is doing a work, let him do his work, and
That's
if we
right.
can just let this thing go,
I love this.
and
I
relax.
don't hear this everywhere. It's refreshing.
You know, how many feathers do we get in a camp?
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
Right.
I don't even wear a hat.
They're really
Or,
his sheep
you know, the
anyway.
response may be, you know, I'm really tied up with my church and my chaplaincy here. Let me call somebody from your church
Yeah.
to make sure you get
That'd be good.
visit on a regular basis.
Because it could be that you don't even have the time, you know, so it may even be a time boundary issue.
Well, is there a possibility that we can play different roles at different times?
Yeah.
Supposing, for an example, I've actually had that to happen since I've been.
Yeah.
There's a patient that's been here, spent 10 months of the last year in this hospital. Okay, I visited him here as chaplain week after week. Okay, then he goes to rehab across town, same hospital, so that's not a problem. So I visited him there as chaplain. Then he goes to another rehab center that's outside the hospital ring, and he asked me to come see him. okay, he's looking at me as chaplain when I'm at the hospital. But I can take my badge off and I can go visit him there as a friend. And it doesn't conflict with anybody unless somebody has a problem with somebody having a friend.
There you go.
Right,
Good,
right.
very good.
It's
Right.
sort of what your
That's
role
good.
is. You know, trying to be his pastor, trying to be a friend, yeah. Number 9, a patient told you a very sad story about losing their job. They have a sick spouse and their family would soon be homeless. What do you do?
Well,
How can you help? How far do you go? You give
Joel,
them
wanna
money?
hear something funny?
Yeah, we need them.
This is from an old friend that was in the Navy, and he said they used to always say to each other, "Tell your troubles to Jesus, the chaplain's gone ashore." And I read that and I thought, oh. That's not very nice.
But within
Could be
each
true.
hospital, particularly here, we do have social workers,
There you go.
Yes.
which would probably be the first place I would head.
And they handle this all the time.
And they more than likely know that this has already happened, but they have avenues and
Yeah.
they have recommendations and they
Yeah.
have a lot of things at their fingertips, resources that
A
they
lot of
can,
phone numbers, resources.
Yes.
that's where I would head first.
And the truth of the matter is, often, I'm poorly equipped. I mean, you know, whatever cash I have in my wallet may.
Is this a pun here? Poorly?
may help, you know, may help get this family a meal or something, but I don't, I'm really poorly equipped to provide long-term solutions for them. And so, you know, I'm not their best avenue of
Yeah.
help.
Refer.
We do before the referral, would you wanna ask them, would it be all right if I go to social services and let them know the predicament?
Yeah,
that
let
you're
me
in?
ask, say we have social services here at the hospital that deals with that. Do you mind if I call them in to help you? Because they may not want to discuss it farther or may want to.
Larry, we do this thing in the area, it's called the bread shed, and we have people stand in line,
Yeah.
it's a feeding program, but it's more
Yeah.
than it's ministry. But we had it wasn't a Baileyville, it was an Elsinore actually. Lady came up, she said, "This will be the last meal I have." And where you can have a nice day.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear
It
that.
wasn't me, but somebody else took her to the side, and we have to have answers. You know, Scripture says be ready with an answer. A lot of it just be what's
You
available.
warm to be filled.
Yeah, that's it. Have a nice day. But you have to be, you just have to know who to call. And just make it your speed dial, you know, or call Martha.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry I came.
Let me give you some suggestions. Do you have a local ministerial association where your ministers get together?
yes.
My understanding is, there is an association, but not all the ministers belong to it.
Yeah, never.
That's
It's
right, mine
usually a
is.
select group.
It's getting better.
But if you could poll these churches, and maybe your hospital chaplaincy could poll these churches, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? And one gives haircuts, and one gives showers, and one fixes old bicycles, and one does clothes, and one does food, and one helps jobs, and one does after school reading with the kids, and you're like, really? We didn't know that.
Yeah. That's good.
And whatever comes up, you got a handy list. Does your community do 211 dial? 911 emergency, 411 information, 211 helping agencies.
The 211's
Helping
online.
what?
Online?
Missouri.
Okay.
Helping what?
Agencies.
It's what, Missouri?
211 is online for Missouri, it's 211mo.org, I think it is.
Okay.
And that will help you with.
Sometimes it disconnects you with certain kind of things that are helpful.
2110?
It's in the,
211mo,
211
but it's
MO.
online.
it's
Online.
online. .org, I think.
.org,
When you
211
Google that, you should
MO.org.
get it.
Yeah.
211mo.
MO.org.
Now, in these issues again, I've been lied to so
That's what I was getting
many
ready to say.
times.
Yeah.
I've also passed up opportunities that were genuine that I didn't know. Okay? But I have been lied to by employees in my hospital, and patients and by people that came to my church and on and on and on about needs. And I just got a lot more street smart.
There you go.
Okay?
This is my thing.
Yeah.
I got yelled at by my husband one night because I went to Kmart after I got off work, and here's this young lady, I've never seen her before, trying to get them to let her use their phone to call somebody, because so-and-so dropped her off and just left her there. Well, you know, you look at them with your human eyes and you think, okay, well, she's probably just a drug addict or whatever, and she's trying to get somebody to help her.
Yeah.
She wasn't asking anybody for any money. I never did hear her ask for money.
Yeah.
So I let her use my cell phone. She thanked me, went on and got in my truck. And I had $20 in my wallet. And I drove off and I got by Taco Bell and I could not get her off my mind.
Yeah.
So I turned around, I went back, and she's standing out there in the starlight.
Yeah.
And I said, would you like for me to take you somewhere?
Yeah.
And of course, on my truck, I had 2 crosses and I am forgiven on my windshield. You know, because I want to be pretty public with what I represent. And she said, yeah, I would like to go to have a ride back to this motel, but I don't have the money for a cab.
Yeah.
And I'm not from here, and I don't have a clue how to get back over there.
Yeah.
And this place has always had a reputation of having thugs there, you know, or whatever you want to call them, whatever terminology you want to put behind it. But it's not a very good place to go, a woman by herself, period.
Yeah.
But I thought, you know, God's got this, or he would have never put her back on my mind. So I took her over there, dropped her off, and I talked to her. On the way, she said, see my stuff on there, and she said, you're a Christian? I said, yes, ma'am, I am. And I said, the reason I came back to help you is because I felt like it's what God wanted me to do. And she said, well, I used to be a Christian, and I got off on the wrong track. I got into drugs, and I said, well, you know, you already know what God wants you to do. And it's up to you from this point on, whether you continue with where you're at, or if you go back to where he wants you. And dropped her off, give her $20. She thanked me, and I left. My husband said, are you crazy? She could have got you over there, and no problem what happened. I said, God put her on my heart. I went back, did what he wanted me to do, and he would have protected me regardless. So you put yourself out there.
Yeah.
And if he said, she just wanted that money for drugs. I said, that's okay. God wanted me to give it to her. He gives her a choice.
Yeah.
You take this money and you do what she gave it to you for, or you use it for wrong. Then it's off me.
That's right.
And it's on her.
Right.
So you've got to look at it that way.
That's right.
When I was up at Elsinore and Grandin churches, which were really small churches, one Sunday a guy was at the back door, knocked, and he said, Pastor, would you take a collection for me and my family? I have a sick mother, blah, 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 in Oklahoma, and I don't need any gas, blah, blah, blah.
Always in Oklahoma.
So I said,
Not a problem.
I told him I wasn't going to take up a collection for him, but I gave him, you know, a couple bucks out of my pocket. That was at Grand. I got to Elsinore. He was at that church. The same spiel. I said, pal, we ain't talking after this today. So I gave him a couple more bucks and said, wish you well.
Yeah.
The church here, Methodist church in town gives vouchers now. They don't give money.
Yeah.
They have vouchers, which is a lot, you know, because that way
Yeah.
they
You know where
can't
to go.
misuse.
Right.
They can't
Right.
misuse the money. Yeah. But when I was working at Hastings, I was at the bookstore here in town. We used to have homeless people coming in all the time. They were trying to take collections from the people in the store and whatnot. And I mean, it was just.
Yeah, but it was
What do you
$20.
do? What do you
I got
do?
to witness to her.
What do you do? You know?
I give her the money, I witness to her. And
I like the
God's
voucher.
hand after that.
The voucher thing's actually the best solution, I think.
Yeah.
You know, as a church, as a church thing, I think that's absolutely the best
They're
solution.
hungry, we're going to the restaurant. Pick
Yeah.
whatever you want on the menu.
That's
Yeah,
I'm gonna give you
exactly.
money.
I had a lady here, I was doing my rounds, and I went in, I sat down, we talked, and then I prayed with her, and then she says, well, I don't know how I'm gonna get home tonight. I don't have any gas in my car, and, I rode up here on E, and I got my daughter's baby, and she just going around with all this. So I said, well, here, let me go up there and get one of the ladies from social service. We have this here, just like you said. I remember that from training scene. And I took her up there. I said, I can take you up there. Oh, no, don't go get them.
Yeah.
She just immediately got that. So I said, okay, it's a little game going on
Yeah.
now. I said, well, ma'am, my purse is in the car, and, I'm doing rounds, and I really am not authorized to just give you money. I don't feel that, because if you had a need, they'll help you. But if you're not willing to go, this is where I have to end it, I'm sorry. You know, so she got mad, but you know, she said, well, okay, I'm quite sure she asked every nurse on the floor the same thing, but when I let her there, she didn't want that. So I knew we had to be a little game going on.
Part of the wisdom I've had in this is how easily they tell the story. Like they're good at it. You know? Yeah. But you know, these other people, now I know you can even fake tears. But you know, some just feel embarrassed about having, and others are like, well, they don't feel embarrassed at all.
No, they don't care.
But that's not always a good test, but it just helped me in some way. We use this 211 number in our community. Everybody went through that. They gave their driver's license, their alias numbers, their everything, and so they knew how many times they had come. And then they sent them to the different churches and agencies in town at the clearinghouse. It didn't solve it all, but we work with social services and all of our people to help what we could, so we wouldn't be abused.
That
And you have to
address
sell
211 Missouri.
211 Missouri all spelled out. It's not
Oh,
a
okay.
Missouri all spelled out.
211 Missouri.
We checked it.
Good. This is
Ah.
how we work together.
.org.
Yeah, we-
.org. 211missouri.org.
You can put in the zip code.
Number 10.
Yeah.
We'll take a break. Number 10, you saw Mrs. Smith's family in the parking lot. They thanked you for helping their mom and could not thank you enough for turning her life around. They said she really needs to go to a nursing home for her own good, but she's reluctant. They said, Mom respects you. And they asked you, could you go help her see that she needs to go to the nursing home?
That's the family stuff. You can pray for the family. I would tell them, I'll pray for your family, I'll pray for you all, you know, talking to your mom, but you know, this is on you.
How did they get to your heart?
I'm telling you that you're doing a good job, that you were needed, and wanted, and special, and good.
Yeah.
I would be available to sit with them
Okay.
as they make the decision and just
Okay.
sit there. You don't have to say anything.
But you
be
can
a
go there with
support.
them?
Sure.
Yep. You can.
I've done that. I've
Many
seen
times.
that. But the
Sounds
family
good.
needs to make the decision.
And the patient needs to make it.
That's right.
I had like the first month I was in the pulpit, the son of a woman was in a drowning accident, and he was on life support, and the mother asked me if she should take him off life support. And I said, I will pray for you, this is your decision. And I did, we did pray together. That's not mine to make.
Man.
You know, I couldn't do that.
It's easy to just give an answer and they gonna live by it.
I got a call from somebody who said, my father's been Episcopalian all his life. He's been here in the nursing home for the last few months, and he's decided not to eat anymore. Would you go in and convince him to eat so that he'll live? And I went, well, I have a lot of problems with this. Why didn't you call me months ago? No.
Yeah.
But I did say, you know, I don't have a relationship with him right at this point.
Yeah.
So anything that I may say may not even make any difference
Yeah.
to this person at all, because I have no relationship with this person, because I haven't been afforded that.
Yeah.
And I said, really, this is your talk to have with him? I will go in and visit him because I know he's Episcopalian, and I will bring him communion. But anything else from there is up to what he wants to discuss and what he wants to talk about.
I'm not sure I have a problem with talking to Mom.
Yep.
I agree it is a family decision, and you know, I wouldn't necessarily go in there with the intention of twisting her arm in any way, but you know, maybe even just go in and say, hey, you know, I visited you several times here, and I love the friendship we're developing here. You know, your family has been talking about your options when you leave here.
Yeah.
And how do you feel about that? And
Right.
you can have that conversation with them, but you know, you can't promise the family that you're going to strong arm grandma into going into the home.
I think it's going to come back to what you were saying, is the relationship you have with them. You know, if you've known them for years and years and years and everything, and you're really close, but if you're, you know, you don't have that closeness, and at some point, also, it has to be the patient's decision. You know, just has to be.
But sometimes the family, it can't always just be a family discussion, because there's such issues there that are long going, and they need a neutral mediator, arbitrator of this discussion. And maybe it is that mom really does need to go to the
Yeah.
nursing home for her
Yeah.
own good.
And
But-
what other hospital personnel does this?
Social services.
Social services.
That's what they do.
And one of the changes that's coming along with CMS, some of their changes, is that the patient is much more involved now in where they go when they leave here. The patient has a voice as to, they're given choices, these are the nursing homes or adult care centers
Yeah.
that you can go to. What is your preference? Put them in order. The patient is involved in the process. Now, if the patient's not competent and can't make those decisions, then the family makes those, or the guardian. But social services is in on this decision
up on
making as well. They
You
know.
may give them a call to be sure they know about it,
Right.
because they may not be aware.
I got stuck in this has been a couple of years ago, I was stuck in a situation, very uncomfortable. Lady was well-to-do, and she was gonna go to a nursing home. Well, she wasn't, her faculties were not, I can't make the assessment, really, I can't.
Yep, yep.
But they asked me, I had to go to court, because I knew the lady, I knew her personally, but I didn't know, I couldn't make any assessment. They're asking me the lawyers, it was, I'm telling you, but the thing is, the family wanted to put her away so they could use her money.
Yep.
So it was a greedy, diabolical, and they were asking me, does she walk straight most of the time? Kinda, a really weird situation.
Yeah.
That's never happened to me. What would you, I know that's one of the questions, how would you handle that?
Well, here's another issue. Let's say it's a lady patient,
Yeah.
doesn't have to be male or female. Are they leaving the stove on? Are they opening the door to any stranger? Are they buying everything off of QVC? Are they a little bit demented? It's like, yeah, maybe this is a danger to them, and they are not even aware of the danger, And so it's like, well, but I don't have to do that as my title chaplain or social servant. Now, I still may sit there and be a part of that loving mediator conversation without strong arming either way. Just to listen, just as a minister, just as a helper.
This grandmother or mother might reveal things to the counselor or the pastor,
Yeah.
Her fears, her anxieties,
Yeah.
that she wouldn't tell her children,
That's right.
believe it or not.
Maybe an abuse thing.
Yeah. Well, even just afraid that they would disapprove,
Yeah.
afraid, a lot of just little things that turn into big things, and
Yeah.
she might just open up and tell you that, then you could be
Yeah.
the mediator to
Yeah.
her and say, look, your mom's really afraid, or your mom's really not at a point of trust where she should be with you right now.
And a lot of older people, it seems like, that I've met who were reluctant to go into a nursing facility because I saw that as the end days.
Yeah.
The end time, and they didn't want to admit that. They didn't want to admit that. And I think maybe there was a time in this country, and maybe it still is, when it's true, but I think more and more the retirement community situation is an improvement over them living home by themselves. We were talking about that earlier. And so,
Might be a nice depot, but it's still the end of the line.
I've been through this with my mom in the last year or so. And she went into she's in a really good place. This place is like a resort. It's a big improvement over living home by herself.
Sure.
And she chose it. She chose it. I took her around and she chose this place. It was an improvement. But for people who don't have, let's just say down here in this area, there's nothing like this place up in the St. Louis area like that down here. And there are some nursing homes in the area that are warehousing old people, basically. And it may not be an improvement. But for a lot of people, what I'm trying to say is, I'm talking in circles here, the perception for a lot of older people still is the end days. And that's a hard thing, and I think it'll be hard for us. So I have some sympathy for that.
You're gonna make me cry.
Now, Larry, my thing is even if the actual decision-making process is not under our purview and maybe be better with social services, what is under our purview is the spiritual implications of this.
Yeah.
Dealing with their fears, learning to trust God, asking for wisdom,
Right.
praying for those things.
Yeah.
There's a whole realm of spiritual things to be dealt with there that social services can't handle.
No.
So
Why is she-
really, I think we do need to be part
Work
of that
together.
process.
That's where we're a team. We rely on them to know what they know. We do what we do best, they do what they do best. We don't have to run away from it, nor have to own it all by ourselves. So there are times when, you know, every situation is going to be different. With every family, their control, the patient's control, and wishes and desire what's good for them. So I don't make these things easy, do I? They're just out there. It's just things that are going to happen. Won't we take a break? Then we'll come back and try to wrap it up for today.